All right. Hello, I'm Craig Bowman. I'm part of the Grand's digital communications team. And you all know the Grand's executive director, Miss Maureen Patton. Hi, Maureen.
Hi there, Craig.
So, Maureen and I are thrilled to be joined by the one and only Texas's own Jaston Williams. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I am good. I'm better than I deserve to be. Considering my history, I am better than I deserve to be. I'm good.
So, let me start by saying Happy New Year. And what have you all been up to this last 10 months as we've been under this COVID pandemic?
Oh, Lord, there are claw marks on the ceiling. No, actually, it is so weird with the COVID thing. We're going to look back on it someday and realize what we got. It cut back on unwanted company. It's really cut back on that drop-in neighbor that you really didn't want to hurt her feelings. She's home with a towel wrapped around her head, and we have an Asian son, so that'll scare anybody, so, but no, it's been a lot of writing, a lot of reading. We've been working with our son who is special needs, and he's learning typing and cursive writing and playing the piano and reading music.
Wow.
A lot of things that the experts said he'd never be able to do. And that's all happened while we've been home during COVID. So we have accomplished a lot. This piece that I'm going to be doing soon got created. I've written a ton of essays, about a third of which are totally libelous, but I'm just practicing.
So, Jason, you're talking about your new piece, which is I Saw the Lights, which we're all excited about, and that's what we're going to talk about. Maureen, when you first heard about it, you just had to have it virtually, had to present it to your audiences. Why is that?
Well, it's clear from this conversation that when Jason's around, all you do is laugh. Every time Jaston would come up to my office when he would come to the theater, and we would sit and just talk, and I'd be laughing the whole time. Yeah, if we could bottle Jaston and send him out there, it would be good medicine for everybody. And like Jaston, we've been doing a lot. We've been closed since March 13th. We have done some construction projects that we were going to cram into a little bitty window, and instead we've taken our time. And we've been managing, as we go along. And I'm very grateful for that. I've maintained my staff. We did get a PPP loan, and that is enormously helpful. We have had lovely people who have donated more than their usual amount of money to help get us through, and that's what we've done. But Jaston and I talked about I Saw the Lights years ago when it was sort of a germ, in his head somewhere. And I read just the other day, Jaston, that there are more UFO sightings going on right now than there have been in years. And I thought, how timely is this? Because you knew all along that this was going to happen. And I love the characters. I know them. We've laughed about it before. I think all of us have family members who are residents of Tuna, and we know them and love them. And so that's the way it is. So of course, Jason's first performance here was in the spring of 1991.
Okay, this was one of my questions. I was curious about that.
Great, in 1991, and he has been here every year since.
Oh wow!
And sometimes more than once in a year. And we have premiered 2 of the Tuna shows here. My
favorite space to perform in.
Yeah,
very special place.
I played.
Keep that in the interview, Craig.
No edits yet, Maureen.
I played palaces, and I've played toilets. And the Grand Opera House. It is just my favorite place to work. It is as comfortable for the actors as it is for everyone else.
So earlier this week, I was talking to Jaston, and he told a funny story about Maureen, which I just am still laughing about. Can you share that one, Jaston?
Yeah, we were performing in Galveston. I'm trying to remember which show it was. It might have been The Foreigner. But
Oh, it could have been. Could have
it
been.
could have been, but I think it was one of the tuna plays. And Galveston had a blackout, which they kind of tend to do. And, you know, people are lining up outside, and all of a sudden the theater is dark, dark, and they won't let anybody in. And we see Maureen take off in this big old car like she's just knocked off her first 7-Eleven. It looked like an escape from a crime. You have never seen anything like it. And she found the electricity people working somewhere, and she blocked them in.
Oh my
And said,
gosh.
if I don't get lights, nobody gets lights. And we had a show.
We
They-
did.
they
Yeah.
got
And I literally, I stopped and they were up on the pole or whatever. And I said, I couldn't get any of my people with the electric company. You know, I was calling them and doing whatever. And so finally, in total frustration, I jumped in the car and off I went, driving around, finding where somebody had a truck. And I told them what was going on. And I said, I've got a sold out show. I have people lined up on the sidewalk and we can't let them in the building. And they said, we'll take care of that. And I went back to the theater and I started telling all the people in line, I said, they're working on it. We're going to get you in just as soon as possible. And by golly, the lights came on. We did the show. We got everybody in there. It was insane.
2 minutes late, everything went up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Amazing. No time for chit chat backstage. Get on. You know,
Only in a small town can you pull that off.
that's so true.
You know, it is really
A
true.
large town with mafia connections.
In a fast car. All right. So Maureen got the
on the phone right now.
Maureen got the lights back on that night. What can audiences expect for I Saw the Lights? What do you say about that?
I Saw the Lights is different, and it's similar to so much work I've done, and yet it's different because it isn't satire. It isn't taking a situation and embellishing it and making it, dealing with an issue and making it crazier than it really is, which is hard to do these days. And, it's been like that way for a decade now. It's been real hard to do satire.
Sure.
And, but I didn't want to do satire. I wanted to deal with the people. I wanted to deal always with their humor, but with their frailty, with their humanity, with their differences. Some have plenty of money, some have little money, some are, working class, some are counterculture. Got a great character that I love, named Sandy, and she moved to Lubbock from Connecticut because she hated trees. She had grown up in heavily wooded areas and she hates trees. She hates them and she doesn't trust them. She says they're like nature's sorority girls. They know they'll never be anything more than box elders. And they do their best to block out the stars. And then there's another character who is a hippie who moved to Lubbock. He was a California hippie who grew up a Mormon, but he ended up in LA and fell in love with a girl, a hippie girl, who decided that she was a Comanche in another life. And she decided to move back to Lubbock and retake the motherland. And he says, she was so good in the sack, I had no choice. I had to go. I had to go. There's a wonderful cowboy character that I truly love, who is afraid of water for very good reasons. He had a very traumatic experience with water and a water moccasin and a girlfriend, and he hadn't been able to take a tub bath in 10 years. It has to be showers. Have a beautician that is the wisest soul in town, which beauticians often are. And she went through a change when she saw the UFOs, because she said, when I saw the UFOs, so I didn't know if it was God or something from another world or what it was, but I knew that I felt as insignificant as a single grain of sand, and I loved that feeling. And I also realized that I could never be mean again. And that's a real detriment when you're a beautician in Lubbock, Texas, when you can't be mean.
Well, I personally can't wait to meet all these characters. Let's not give it all away, but I know there are 9 of them. So
There are 9 of them, and they're wonderful. I love them. And we had a wonderful time putting it together. I perform as myself in my clothing, but we did 2 days of photo shoots where we costumed and made up the characters. So they are all those ages, all those types, and we project them and bring them back and forth. And it's been a labor of love, and we found work for a whole lot of people, which hadn't been happening in our business. And we probably hired 20 people to get this thing up, and it shows. It looks really good, and it's just going to be fun. We just want people to sit home and enjoy, sit home and enjoy, and then go out and look for some UFOs because they're out there.
I know that supporting artists is important to you, Maureen, and the
Absolutely.
whole team at the Grand, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's been one of the hardest things has been, as you know, Craig, and Jaston, we've lost some of our agents because there are whole businesses that are either shutting down or cutting back so much. And the artists are without work unless we do something like this. And we involve them in some way. And I think, I've said to so many people in different times, so many times, that this is a huge industry. And, people forget that the arts and entertainment industry is larger than even all of professional sports put together in terms of the economic impact that they have. So just think about that and think about how devastating something like this is. And, but we are also a very close-knit family. As large as this industry is, we're a close-knit family. And I have had agents call me and artists call me just to check on how we're doing. And we do the same thing. We reach out. We want to make sure that everybody's okay and that they're safe, that they're well. And we have lost some people. We've lost some marvelous people in our communities and at large, So that's important. It's so important for all of us to just get back. And even if we get back and we practice social distancing and we see 200 people in this 1,000-seat auditorium, it's at least coming back with live theater.
Yes, it is.
And Jaston will perform for 200 people, of course.
Oh, absolutely. We had a plan. We thought we were going to open. We were going to open in January. He was going to come. He was going to do the show. I had 2 different shows. And then that surge hit and everything had to be scrapped and you start over again. And that's when we really started looking more closely at the streaming, what it is.
And it is happening in January. So there you go.
And it was fascinating putting it together because it was like learning to walk. I was very insistent that it looked like a play, that it not let, we had 3 cameras, but we weren't going to look like a film, and I didn't want it to look like a film. And so it looks like a stage performance, just that the audience is at home.
Yeah.
They're at home. But it was, we shot it in Austin at the State Theater. And again, a lot of old friends were there working on this project. So that made you feel really good. You looked around and saw people that had survived. And that you weren't sure we would ever work together again at one point, and it's coming back.
It's coming back on Friday night, January 29th at 7 o'clock. There are 2 ticket options, okay? Just a general ticket, but you can also get a VIP ticket where you get some behind the scenes stuff with this very talented man right here. So why wouldn't you want to do that? That's the one I bought. So all you do is go to thegrand.com and all the information is there. Maureen and Jaston, thanks so much for doing this. Any last words?
It's a pleasure. It's so much fun to be laughing with Jaston. I've missed it.
It's a kick. I need to get back to Galveston. I lived in New Orleans for years in the French Quarter, and Galveston is like her crazy little sister. She is. She's just as much fun.
I love it. Let's end it there.
Yeah.
You stay safe and healthy, and above all, let's keep making art. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.